Yeah, and so we save a little bit of time when I'm not making too long remarks now, and I just invite Lydia Goss, and as I understand, you are a specialist of public relations, and you have produced many interesting things with UPC Polska, for instance, the UPC eSenior Citizen Academy, and now you are presenting a handbook on safety life on the web, a sort of ABC for the whole family, which you produced together with InSafe, I read. And Janice is also here. Well, she just has been here. So the floor is yours.
Dzień dobry Państwu. Nazywam się Lydia Goss.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lydia Goss, and as
jestem tutaj dzisiaj z Państwem,
Joachim said, I represent UPC. I'm here with you today to keep my balance and tell you about the handbook that you've already been told about, but also about what we're doing in terms of education. To accompany that handbook, I'll briefly try and walk you through this educational program. To begin with, let me say a few words about our company, because our educational efforts have to do are closely tied with our business activity. We're the second largest provider of broadband internet in Poland. We're also part of an international corporation that provides telecoms services. In Poland, we provide internet to around 350,000 households, and as an internet provider, we're trying to educate our clients on how to use the medium safely. We believe that the role of ISPs such as ours and others in the business is very important as a way of promoting safety online. The threats, the risks of the internet, the dangers in the internet were discussed at length during this conference. I merely wanted to say that, on the one hand, access to entertainment and information is becoming more universal. On the other hand, there is a growing number of children using the internet for education, but also as a source of entertainment. I'm sure you know that, according to studies, one internet user in 10 is aged between 7 and 14, while 71% of net users had encountered violence, porn, and other unlawful or dangerous content online, and these are the threats that our children are exposed to. Now, providers should educate users about the dangers, and we have to partner with the public sector, and this is a way of carrying out such projects. One example of such a partnership where the public sector provided the support for an internet provider is our work with InSafe, is the cooperation between InSafe and UPC in many European countries. This whole project was also supported by Viviane Reding, the EU Commissioner on Information Society and the Media, who supported such ideas. And that was a bit of background. Now, let me say more about this handbook, what it's like and what other associated things we're doing. Apart from what we're addressing to children and adults, parents, we're also educating the older generation. We don't want them to be excluded. We don't want exclusion is not just lack of access to modern-day technology, but simply it's not a question about having access to the medium, but knowing how to use the technology as such. So that's why we feel we have to educate senior citizens and the older generation. As I said, it all began with this handbook, this kit. That's part of your conference materials. Hopefully you had a chance to look at it. Then we had educational competitions done with local media, and we trained instructors teaching parents, and finally we held a series of educational workshops that I will be telling you more about in a moment. The kit, the primer. The purpose of the primer is to give parents a teaching aid, a tool that provides them with the knowledge, allowing them to be guides to help their kids navigate the virtual world. Kids use the internet. Parents are busy, and they often don't have the time to brush up their knowledge about the internet, to learn more, or they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the language, they don't have the know-how to talk to kids and tell them what internet use involves, what to look out for, what's important, and generally how to be safe online. Some parents ignore, downplay the threats in the internet because either they're not aware such threats exist or they don't have the time to spend a moment at the computer with their kid and to teach the kids to be safe online. This handbook, this primer, was developed for children aged 6 through 12, and it's made up of 2 parts. There are 2 little books for kids and 1 for parents. They are similar in content, in structure, chapter layout, and each of these books, we want the part for the children to be accessible, easy to read, to teach through fun, to make teaching fun, while the book for parents is intended to be informative. The manual, the kit, contains many guidelines on how to use the internet in simple terms, like how to keep your computer virus-free, how to use messaging systems, how to avoid cyberbullying, how to defend yourself against cyberbullying, what is cyberbullying, how to download, and how to use messaging services, and what personal data can you make available, can you post online. There's a test at the end of each chapter, and there's also a little glossary of terms, as well as links to safe websites, recommended websites. And at the end, there's a diploma, a certificate for the entire family, which recognizes the effort parents and children have put into studying or learning all the material in the textbook. It's fun, but it's also an effective teaching aid instrument. How did we disseminate this handbook? It's available on the Safer Internet website, and it's also available on our corporate website in a downloadable format. There's also a dedicated website, UPC Live for children, and it was also distributed in the course of competitions held by the local press. Why competitions? Well, because we believe that people normally don't appreciate what they get for free. Now, if they get something free, they normally throw it away and never bother looking into that. But if you put in a bit of effort to get this manual, this textbook, then people appreciate it a little more. They value it. And so we also had competitions on the radio. Now, this is the homepage of the website for children and parents, where we have additional information or supplementary information. We can find safe games for every age group, and where we also post announcements about courses for parents. And it's a website that's liked by parents and children alike. These courses that I referred to for this training to be effective, we needed to train our trainers. UPC has its own internet workshops in 8 cities around the country. These are workshops that we developed for another educational program, a program for senior citizens, for the over 50s. And these are workshops with modern computer equipment, with internet access. This is our training facility, basically. And in these training facilities, we have experienced trainers who ran classes for senior citizens, but for the purposes of this program, we wanted to train our trainers on everything that's related to internet safety. So we invited representatives of various organizations, including ones that are present at this here conference, such as the Nobody's Children Foundation, the Academy for the Development of Philanthropy in Poland, Helpline, Dyżurnet, as well as F-Secure, which is a renowned producer of antivirus software. And we also used our own resources, our own in-house training team. Competitions in the media, in the papers. These throughout Poland. These competitions weren't just meant to be fun. There was also an educational component. Some information about internet safety was provided, and this article had a little test, a number of questions where you could see whether you understood, and you also, by answering the questions, you took part in a lottery or a drawing to determine, to select who would take part in the workshops. Then this year we had the pilot workshop for parents. These are pictures, and these were 3-hour workshops run by our trainers, but also with the participation of psychologists and police officers from the cyberbullying and internet crime branch. We also discussed the various issues covered in the manual, the handbook, and recruitment or trainees were chosen by way of this competition, and we also want to have another course sometime in the autumn. Next year we want to develop our program to have it, or to reach out to a greater number of people. And we're happy and proud to see that other companies are following in our footsteps and also publishing similar tools or developing similar tools. We're happy because we feel that internet service providers have an important role to play here in the educational process, so we hope that other companies will follow suit, will jump the bandwagon.
Yes, dziękuję, Lydia, for this short but very instructive report.